Are The Simpsons tapping into time travel, alternate realities, and hidden Hollywood secrets? So in episode 1, we discovered that The Simpsons predictions seem to come from an alternate reality connected to one of the writers. Events unfold there before they happen here, allowing future events to be seen, though sometimes signs are misunderstood by the writers. In today's episode on Tarot by Christina, we are going to explore whether time travel, remote viewing, predictive programming, or even hidden Hollywood knowledge could also be behind these eerily accurate predictions. Now, this is not to say that what we find out today eliminates the alternate reality theory that we got for episode 1. This is just diving deeper and seeing if there's anything that can be added to that. So we're going to start out with our Oracle first, and then we move into Tarot with that for extra information. And as before, we are going to shuffle these cards, split them, and there's 4 piles here. So we will do that so you know that the cards are coming out randomly. And the question here, and I'm going to give the question so that we can pull a card as I shuffle. Do any Simpsons writers have knowledge of time travel? That's what we want to know, because even though they're getting information through the alternate reality, as we've seen in episode 1, they might be doing things, shifting time somehow without even knowing they're doing it. So, do any Simpsons writers have knowledge of time travel? So we have Ball of Fire. Shuffle the next deck here. And pull that one. Bride of Frankenstein. And the Postman. That's interesting because we had the Postman in episode 1 as well. And if you haven't seen that, I've put a link in the description box below, and also you can see it or connect up with it in the right-hand corner of this screen. All right. And we have Every Kind of People. That's interesting too, because that was another card that we had in the first episode. And, you know, if you can see how thick each one of these piles is, it's interesting to end up getting the same cards. So, again, question: do any Simpsons writers have knowledge of time travel? We have Ball of Fire first, and then Bride of Frankenstein. It says on there, more fearful than the monster himself. So I'm going to say that it is possible that there is knowledge of time travel, but it's not something I think that the writers really enjoy. They kind of would prefer getting the information that they get differently, like through, I'm going to say, dreams or something like that. They would rather get that, because a lot of the things that they get are apocalyptic. Okay, so in a dream, you know that you can wake up. That's a fact. You know that you can wake up. But when you are time traveling, actually going physically somewhere, it's not that easy. So I think what they're saying is it is definitely something that, you know, that they have done and still occasionally do, but it's very scary. So they would prefer to do it a different way. Now here we have Every Kind of People. And this is just saying that it is pretty much one writer, I think, that is connected up to the alternate reality. But it takes many different kinds of people. And there are some of the writers, and I'm not sure how many writers that Simpsons has, but there's there are some writers that don't have a problem with doing the actual time travel. So let's go further here. What dreams may come. And again, getting into the fact that they prefer, most of them prefer to get what they get from the alternate reality in dream form. That's what they would prefer. Then we have the giver. And we have Michael. All right, so in the giver, if you've never seen that movie, in the giver, everything is set up a certain way for the people to live. They are assigned jobs. It is a very peaceful yet controlled environment. And I feel as though these writers believe that the dreams are probably much easier to work with. They have more control over, well, whether they can wake up or not versus when they're transported someplace else. And no matter what, the cards are saying they do definitely have assistance from their guides, from their angels. They're not left totally alone to deal with some of these scary things. And like I said, things are, can be apocalyptic, what they receive. And we're talking predictions, things that they have actually predicted in the Simpsons cartoon. And some of it is apocalyptic, whether it's nuclear war, whatever it is. It's very scary. So it would be much easier not to be living through it, so to speak. So we are going to pull some tarot, see if we can get a little extra information here. I am looking for a larger, or a deck that has words on the bottom that's easier to see. Okay, so we have the Five of Pentacles here, which is pretty much chaos. So if you think of a ball of fire, like a meteor, time travels very fast. Okay, maybe feels as though they're on fire as they're traveling. And, it's a very chaotic feeling for them physically. The Bride of Frankenstein, we have the Eight of Swords. And again, very scary doing the time travel. And the Eight of Swords is just saying they feel like a victim, like they're trapped in, they can't get out, and they even have a difficult time thinking their way out of it or speaking their way out of it. Whereas in a dream, you open your eyes, you're done. So with the Postman, we've got the Three of Cups, and they all do it, okay? They all have done the travel in the past. But again, there are certain kinds of people, and the travel in the past, they've all experienced some kind of apocalyptic event. So again, there's every kind of people, which means there's certain ones that don't have an issue with it. And that is paired with the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is this one person is okay with the chaos. The others just want to walk away from doing it in that way. And we had chaos here too for the physical body. One person, at least one of the writers, maybe more than one, but one of the writers doesn't have a problem with doing that. And then we have What Dreams May Come with Justice. And this is a balance. Most of them want some kind of balance, some kind of way to, again, pull themselves out quickly. They want justice fast when they need it. And then with the Giver, we have the Empress. We have the Empress. And the Empress is one of creativity. They don't have a problem with that. They want to be able to have creative dreams. They want to be able to get the information creatively, but somewhat controlled also for them. And then we have the Ten of Wands, which is the angels and the spirit guides, they do their best to take the burden upon themselves so that the writers do not have to be afraid. If they're, asked to time travel, then they try very hard to keep them from being burdened or afraid. So there's question 1. It is possible, and they do know about it, but they don't necessarily enjoy it, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them. All right, so we'll do the cleanup here as we do each time. And I know this is the worst part of any tarot channel, is watching the reader have to pick up all the cards, but it is definitely a necessity. You want to make sure that you have everything all ready for the next question. And in this one, we have 5 questions that we're working with. And it does help to be able to pull the cards as we go. Didn't do that last time. All right, so again, here we go with the shuffling. The question this time is, has someone from the future influenced the Simpsons storylines? And, it's possible that future timelines do bleed through the alternate reality that the writers are connected to. But is there more to it? Is there a future person also, not just someone from an alternate timeline that maybe sneaks in there from time to time? We have the Gladiator. Let's see what the second pile is going to offer for us. Has someone from the future influenced the Simpsons storylines? This could even be, there's what dreams may come again. This may even be considering that someone from the future connected them up with the person in the alternate timeline. I suppose that's a possibility too. And we have Dreamweaver. That's 2 things with dreams here. Okay. All right, there we go. And then we have Ballroom Blitz. All right, so has someone from the future influenced the Simpsons storylines? Gladiator is actually from the past, in my opinion, at least in the movie. Gladiator is from the past, but the Gladiator is also one who forges new paths, I'm going to say, in my opinion. And remember, all of this is alleged. Okay, so it's somebody who forges forward, someone who has the guts to really give it their all. And this Gladiator, I think, in this particular one, I think this is a traveler. I think this person is a traveler in the sense that he or she, it's a male on the card, so I'm going to say he, travels through people's dreams. And I think this person is also a spirit guide, because Dreamweaver, that's the first clue on this card, is spirit guide. And we did talk about spirit guides in episode 1. So I think this person is also a spirit guide, somebody who can enter dreams very easily and has traveled, I think, forward and back, is a time traveler of some sort. It's kind of I'm going to say, a rebel spirit. Somebody who really enjoys the chaos and the chaotic energy that comes from, going forward and back and that kind of thing. So let's see what more we've got here. We've got reinvention, cat people, which we had in episode 1 also, and fear. Okay, so I know I put the warning in the front about the Chihuahua, but he is really on a roll today. I do apologize. He just loves to be in here with me, and he tends to be extra loud when I'm recording. I think purposely. He knows. Okay, so we have reinvention underneath Dreamweaver. This person, I think, was a spirit guide. This is a past card, so I'm going to say one of the jobs that they had at one point in time, and maybe still do, is a spirit guide. Somebody who works with one of these writers on a regular basis, but they go forward and they go back, and they love that. And they share those things in dreams with the writer or writers. This was something that was reinvented. Okay, it wasn't the way things were supposed to be, but they had to reinvent for some reason. And with the cat people, things are always done in the dark. Okay, everybody was in the dark, but they needed to be able to see clearly. So the best way to reach someone is through the dreams. You know, once they close their eyes, when they get into the dream, their eyes are open. And that was one way to be able to control the fear of what perhaps they were seeing, so that they didn't wake up in a sweat and be absolutely terrified by what, information was being given to them. So let's see what more we have here, because we are still, determining whether someone is there that influenced the storylines. And I'm saying, yes, there was. But how much did they influence the storyline? In other words, we know that by doing it in this manner, it was reinvented to be done at night so that the eyes were sharper in the dream world and not as much fear. Okay, so with the tarot, we have the Fool. Or no, excuse me. We have the Two of Pentacles. All right, so yeah, the gladiator guy here goes forward and back. And the Ace of Coins. Dreams have a ton of potential. They can go anywhere with a dream. They can bring in what they've seen in the past. They can bring in what they've seen in the future. Whatever is necessary, they can bring forth in that dream. And there's just no limit to what that can mean. And then we have Judgment. That was a calling. The gladiator here was called to be a spirit guide and has continued to do so. That was the main part of who he was for one of the writers before becoming the gladiator on top of being the spirit guide. And the Ballroom Blitz, we have the World. So this gladiator, this spirit guide, really enjoys all aspects of this travel that they do. And it allows them to travel throughout the world, throughout the universe. And it is chaotic energy, but they just absolutely love doing it. And we have the Tower. So somebody had, and I'm going to assume it's the spirit guide, this gladiator, somebody had an aha moment where being able to share the information in a good way, where they did the time travel and the writers did not have to, except of course in the dreams. And we're all used to dreams. It doesn't faze us, that we have a dream at night. We're used to that. And so somebody had an aha moment and just reinvented the whole system to be able to get this information across. Now, this is assuming, okay, that this spirit guide is also connected up with the alternate reality soulmate, okay, who may or may not look exactly like one of the writers, maybe their alternate reality personality, I don't know. But that was that's one way that some of this information comes through. And it may be that the gladiator goes and checks out those events and assists in getting the information, helping that soulmate get the information to the writers. And then with cat people, we have the 5 of Swords. So communication isn't always easy, which is why, I mean, it can be really, really chaotic. And so this is why they decided to go the nighttime scenario, because again, cats see really well in the dark. Well, when you're dreaming, your eyes are wide open and you see many more things than you would see otherwise. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles. And in this one, this is the queen that takes care of you in the physical, okay? Teaches you how to nurture and care for yourself, how to honor who you are. And we have the Fear card with it, which is, again, why they are doing what they're doing. So you have a spirit guide also that helps with the guiding and the caring and the nurturing of the person who is dreaming, so that there's not a lot of fear. Because again, anything can come through a dream. Anything. We just want to keep the fear at a minimum, is what they're saying. All right, so let us move on to... going to drop my cards here. Move on to the third question here. So as we have the cleanup. So if you have any opinions here about what we're discovering, please feel free to share them in the comments below. And also, if you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to hit the like button. That helps get the videos out there, and also to subscribe so you don't miss anything. There's a lot of shows that we're going to be doing, and this is a little bit different. This is specifically about the predictions and where perhaps they come from. But the other shows that I am going to be covering will kind of look into the strange, we'll put it that way. Such shows as like Supernatural and The Walking Dead and Fringe and So Weird, things like that. All right, so question number 3. Could the show be using remote viewing, predictive programming, or AI simulations to get their prediction information? And again, we're just digging for all the possibilities. We know that time travel is possible. We know that they're working with somebody in an alternate reality. So, and it seems to all be through spirit guides. And so we have Dragonfly for the first card. And for those of you that aren't aware or haven't seen the movie, it's a Kevin Costner movie. If you haven't seen it, awesome movie. It really will take you by surprise. Okay. And next card is Indestructible Man. Could the show be using remote viewing, predictive programming, or AI simulations to get these predictions? Or to make everyone believe the predictions. Because mass thought has a lot of power. Okay. All right, so we have an Independence Day here. Okay, so Dragonfly is kind of a movie about spirits or a spirit who really needs to get a message through to Kevin Costner, who is the main character. And it's a dragonfly that is the point of the movie, thus called Dragonfly. it's a dragonfly. The woman who passes away loves dragonflies. So this is the sign that she gives to Kevin Costner throughout. As we learned in episode 1, signs are huge. Okay, this is one of the main ways that the alternate reality soulmate brings in the information for the writers. Okay, so we're going back to signs. And a lot of the things that they've brought up is probably shocking. Okay, it's a shocking scenario. The signs are often shocking, which, you know, when we're talking possible apocalyptic things, yes, of course, they are definitely that. Now, in the past, they were, what do I want to say? The alternate reality soulmate and the spirit guides and angels, they had to be very persistent, move forward no matter what to get these signs out there, so that eventually the writers could be a little more independent, a little more focused on one specific sign when necessary. Okay, in Independence Day, obviously, it was a bunch of huge UFOs. Well, you know, that's one specific focused sign, right? It's what everybody was focused on. And that's where they're trying to lead the writers, so that the predictions that are made end up being very on point, okay? So that they're not missing, as, you know, we said in episode 1, sometimes the signs were misinterpreted or could be misinterpreted, which is probably why not all of the predictions that were made came to fruition. All right, so let's continue. We have Black Magic Woman, Robin Hood, and Come Sail Away. All right, so it is a supernatural power. They're saying that it is not coming from predictive programming or AI simulations. This is something that's much more supernatural, okay? Remote viewing, perhaps, but I'm going to lean more towards no, because everything that we've done here so far with the alternate reality soulmate, and again, you need to see episode 1 to understand that for sure, and, you know, the spirit guides and the gladiator, I'm just going to keep calling it the gladiator. It's all about the signs and all about helping these writers focus and be persistent in sending the signs, so that they can share the shocking things that could be happening. And that does include alien exposure, obviously, okay? But this is the only thing that people had to worry about that day, was the aliens. Okay, so it's a one thing, and it is something that is supernatural power of some sort that is getting all this together for the writers to create the shows with the predictions. And with Robin Hood, you know, that steal from the rich, give to the poor. Robin Hood was one of a kind. And so are these writers, okay? And especially they're probably all getting dreams and that kind of thing now. They're probably all doing certain things, but this show is one of a kind. It does what it does, and these writers are brave enough to do the work. Again, we've got Come Sail Away. This is one of the things on here is signs and no fear. Again, they are being given signs. It is signs right next to Black Magic Woman, right next to, you know, signs about possible shocking, destructive things. It says indestructible man. So these guys, you know, they can't get hurt by what they're doing, and how they're getting the information. They can't get hurt. But it comes in signs of some kind, and we saw the last spread had mostly dreams, like Dreamweaver and What Dreams May Come is what it had. So let's go a little further here and see what the tarot has to share about this question. And it just wants to keep flopping over, but we're not going to take jumpers. We're going to do the deck the way we're supposed to and not do jumpers right now. All right, so Dragonfly, again, signs. So we have the 10 of Pentacles. That is a completion, a legacy. So they are, and the Dragonfly, and this is interesting. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to ruin it for you because the ending is phenomenal. But it ends up being a legacy for him, for Kevin Costner. And that's what this card is all about. He followed the signs. And, you know, this could also be saying that when these writers are done, in other words, they retire, certain ones retire or whatever, they're going to pass the legacy down to the next writers as long as the show keeps going. And then we have the Star. So this is just saying that it is spirit guides and angels and otherworldly beings that are sharing these, and the soulmate from the alternate reality that are sharing these very destructive or apocalyptic images with these writers. The Hierophant. And this is their teaching. I take the Hierophant more as a teacher than government. It could be government, but I say teacher in this case because they are being persistent, being very persistent in getting these signs to the writers. They're teaching them how to interpret those signs also. And again, if you've never seen Hidalgo, sorry, I always say Hidalgo, another phenomenal movie. All right, so the Tower. Again, they're trying to get them to focus on whatever the specific information that they've been given. Let's say, well, at one point it was the Trump presidency. They wanted them to focus specifically on whatever signs they were being given before they wrote that particular episode. And there is a point in time, the Tower isn't always a destructive thing. It can be an aha moment. And I think the writers suddenly get that aha moment going, this is exactly what we have to do with this episode. So they all kind of work together that way. Then we have the Lovers, which is a choice card. And with this one, it's these writers have a choice. Don't think they don't. Okay, they have a choice whether or not they want to do this supernatural work. Okay, they have the choice. It's not like they were told you have to do this. But when they accepted that first one, they continued to get the information, and as long as they didn't say they didn't want to do it anymore, it just keeps coming. Then we have the High Priestess, which is the mystery of these writers are pretty brave, just like Robin Hood. They give things to people in such a way that it comes to all of us, okay? It isn't just for the wealthy. It comes to all of us in the form of a cartoon. And then we have Queen of Coins. Now, we had that last time in this position with the last question, which again is that spirit guide, that inner self, you can say, that says, okay, you're safe, you're cared for, you're nurtured. No matter what comes through, there's no fear. These are signs. Just let your mind go and don't be afraid. So the answer here, I believe, is no. There's nothing other than supernatural power going on here. There is no remote viewing. There's no predictive programming. There's no AI simulations. And remote viewing, I take that back. Remote viewing is possible because that is one of the writers might actually be able to do remote viewing in this way for the purpose of getting these predictions from the signs. Okay, so they have a little extra to work on in remote, for remote viewing, if in fact they do it that way, but they can. That is one of those that is an individual possibility, but I'm going to say chances are it's done more supernaturally than it is through remote viewing. Okay, so we have 2 more questions. Hope you're enjoying this. I'm really having fun doing this very much. Okay, so next question is, does the entertainment industry secretly know about time travel? And, it may seem like kind of a goofy question, but some people, the high ups might know that something strange is going on. They may not know exactly what it is, but they prefer not to share it publicly. Maybe because they know they shouldn't share it publicly. But we have Let Your Love Flow. And remember, the entertainment industry, a lot of people call that the eyes wide shut. But are they really interested in the time travel? Here we have Pushing Tin. I imagine they might be if they can go back in time and, change events somehow, that they didn't like the way something went. But material world. Notice all the money on that card. And I'm going to say probably with that material world that that's a card of the past in that position most of the time. It doesn't have to be. But in this case, I think time travel was something that they thought maybe could bring a lot of money materially. Okay. Let Your Love Flow. The writers of this show are in tune. They are very connected. They weren't at first, okay? As you will understand if you watch episode 1. But they are very much in tune and connected to the supernatural power, the information that they're receiving. And take a look at this. We have signs again. With Pushing Tin, there might be a little bit of competition between the writers, because I think as time has gone on, and if the writers have stayed pretty much the same team, okay, they're used to this now. So there's a little bit of competition in the information that they receive. They're not doing it for the money. They might have been when they first became writers and first noticed that, Simpsons was going to be really popular and the money was great, but that's not why they're doing it anymore. They're doing it for the signs. Always the signs that they get from these supernatural places. And, supernatural might not be the right word for that because, alternate realities, the future, the all-seeing eyes of, say, the spirit guides, the angels. The information can come in a lot of ways and through their dreams, and they have to use their intuition to get what they want. But in the end, all these writers come together in an amazing way and agree upon what the signs are all about. Over the Top, Age of Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In, and Bringing Up Baby. All right, so again, the question is, does the entertainment industry secretly know about time travel? I don't think it's so secret, actually. Everything in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, literally is over the top, okay? if they're going to show you something, it's going to be twice elaborated, 10 times elaborated to what it actually is. They want you to think that money's important, and those are the signs that they send to us. It's the fear factor they want to play with. So in this case, in the show or in the movie Signs, it's about UFOs. And as we saw before in the previous question, that was Independence Day. So it's interesting that those two came here in the center position. But they're going to take everything over the top. They're not going to be able to secretly keep time travel a mystery. It's just not going to happen. And we all know anyway. It's the age of Aquarius. We all are enlightened. We're aware that we're not the only ones in the universe. Definitely not the only ones in the universe. But they want to treat us like children. Bringing up baby. The entertainment industry wants to keep barraging us with things that will make us afraid, that we'll pay money for, and they'll always go over the top. So you might find 15 movies all of a sudden about UFOs, aliens, that kind of thing. And then the next one will be about sicknesses. And then the next one, but they'll do so many of them because they want to push their agendas, allegedly. Okay, but again, the writers for Simpsons, this is their way. They're getting, it's not about the money. So they're giving us a little extra information in this. All right, so let's see what the tarot has to say about the entertainment industry, secretly knowing about time travel. Yeah, it's pretty much anything that they learn about all of a sudden, or that is part of whatever agenda that they need to get out there for whatever reason. They push it. They push it and they push it and they push it, and they always go over the top. And they always treat us like children, even though we are very enlightened, most of us. Majority of the people who watch channels like this are very enlightened. If you're new here, you're probably more enlightened than you think. All right, so with the Let Your Love Flow, we have the 10 of Swords. Okay. The entertainment industry is connected, okay, but their connection is mostly in communicating the wrong things. They're not communicating the truth. They're literally throwing daggers all the time. Because, again, it's about money. It's always about money. And with pushing 10, it is the 4 of Cups. They don't push everything. Some things they actually say, no, not that yet. We can't use that yet. And I don't know if time travel is one of those things right now. I don't think so, because there's plenty of time travel movies out there, for sure. Then we have the Hermit. So with the money, they do actually take some time to contemplate, somebody does in the entertainment industry, to contemplate and use past wisdom, I guess you could say, to determine what will make them the most money, what will fall for the fastest. And then we have the 6 of Wands. They offer specific things, okay, signs like the UFOs and that kind of thing, because they know that we will recognize it, and they recognize the fear that some people have, and they know exactly how to help us recognize what they want us to recognize. Over the top, we've got the Sun. Oh yeah, everything is illuminated. They give you the impression that they're giving you all the information. So when they give you a time travel movie, it's definitely possible. It's not illusion. Get into the movie. Really see what can happen to you if you try time travel. See what can happen to you if you try to connect up with aliens. See what, they're going to take over the world, and they'll do everything over the top. Everything is bright and bold. They make it look like they know everything about the subject. Then we have the Fool. We've got the age of Aquarius. We're very enlightened people, but they believe us to be fools. That's their way of thinking. And the Fool can mean something completely different. The Fool is somebody who isn't afraid, somebody who is willing to go out on an adventure without really knowing what the adventure is. But in this case, they think we're fools. And we have Strength. So they feel like they have the power. That's why they treat us like children, because they feel like they have the power. And again, this is all alleged. If we go to the point of the writers in using these tarot cards, as we said, the writers are in tune and connected also, just like the entertainment industry is. And they know how to make the words, or they've learned how to make the words very powerful in the Simpsons show. There are some things that when they get in their meeting group or whatever, and they have their little bits of competition, there are some things that they choose not to do, that they feel is probably better not to do in a particular episode. But again, they're not doing it for the money anymore. They literally do go into the solitude, the quiet, to be able to get the signs that they're meant to get. And, some of this is meditation. It's not just dreams. Some of them may do meditation as well to get the downloads, so to speak, about these signs. They see a sign, they're like, I wonder what this means. They have their meeting and they talk about it. Everybody tries their own way to get more information about the signs. And eventually it is recognized, okay? They get all the illumination that they need, which allows them to open up even further and not really have to, they don't stop and go, oh, I don't think we should do this. They just take the risk in the cartoon because they need to. They need to share the information that they have. They have the strength to do that, and Simpsons is their baby. They are writing a masterpiece, and it's been a masterpiece for many, many, many seasons. All right, so I have one more question here after we do cleanup. And I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet whether this is going to be an 8 or 10 episode Simpsons. I don't know. I may stop it at 8 so it doesn't get repetitive for you. All right, so the next question then is, what is the biggest secret behind the Simpsons predictions? Not sure what this will bring. I mean, we know that there's a lot of stuff going on, ways that they get their information now. And it hasn't wavered. So we have Ruthless. I don't remember if I split those, but we will see. I'll make sure I remember that I did this one. Sometimes it's so automatic, I don't even, yeah. Okay, so what dreams may come. There it is again. And I think for the next episode, I will probably intermix all these piles The piles are the same piles for episode 1 and 2 here. In other words, they have all the same cards, but I think I will mix them all up, separate them again. All right, so then we have Dr. X. Oh, sorry. And Kung Fu Fighting. All right, so I think what this is saying is the writers go through quite the experience. What they get from the information through the dreams, through their meditation, through their downloads, through all of that stuff, might seem to some people like it's ruthless. It just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming, because the powers that be in the supernatural power for this, okay, the soulmate in the alternate reality, the angels, the spirit guides, this is these writers calling, okay? So there's no sense in them going to the doctor for anything. I mean, anything that has to do with what their dreams are sharing, to try and shut off what they're getting, okay? They're being taught focused strength. They've been being taught this by, again, the spirit guides, the angels. It's all focused, very focused energy. And magic again, practical magic. We've got the birds, and we have the Blues Brothers. And so, as we said before, this is a supernatural power. We got it from the last card with Black Magic Woman. Well, these are also witches. It's practical magic. It is supernatural. It's how things are coming through. And remember that supernatural is just a word, okay? It's not evil. It's not anything like that. It's portrayed by Hollywood as evil, obviously. But supernatural is just a word that means out of the ordinary, something powerful from somewhere we're not familiar with, okay? They receive scary information, some of it. And we've talked about this already in episode 1, that it can be very scary information, and it keeps coming at them. The signs for these things keep coming at them. And it is a way for them to have that focused strength, because they are on a mission. They are trying very hard to, and this says, you know, they'll never get caught. They're on a mission from God on the Blues Brothers card. They have a mission, and that mission is, and I'm not saying necessarily the writers have the mission. It could be the spirit guides. It could be the angels. Somebody has a mission that these writers are a part of, to get the information out to us so that we are somewhat prepared for what is coming. Because as we know, the entertainment industry isn't going to necessarily tell us truths, okay? Because they treat us like children. They don't give us the truth, allegedly. All right, so see what the tarot has to say. So this is the secret, is that the writers are barraged with information by these beings, again, spirit guides, angels, otherworldly, the soulmate from the alternate reality. It's coming at them from a lot of different places. I don't know how they agree upon what they're sharing, but they do. Anyway, it is magic. It is done in a very magical way to teach them, and this is the center card, it's focused strength. It's to allow their energy to flow in a way that is synchronistic to the show, to be able to give them the information they need. And even when it's ruthless information about apocalyptic type things. So let's see what the tarot has to share. We have the Ten of Cups. Okay, so the Ten of Cups is a happy card. All right, a very happy card, although it can be an illusion. That happiness can be an illusion. It's like the happy family card. Everything is perfect and wonderful, and but it's also, as a 10, it is intuition at its strongest. Okay, so that's what these writers have been learning, is the intuition, making their intuition so strong. So and you know, the supernatural powers that have been doing this have been ruthless about teaching. Okay, and then we have the Nine of Cups, which is the wish card. So most of them are wishing that they can get the information through the dreams. And that's the energy that these beings try to push for them, is for the ones that really want to do it through the dreams, they do. So they're all working together in such an amazing way. It isn't just somebody saying, you're going to do this because we say so. No, no, no. It does not work that way. And then we have the Six of Cups. And that is a nostalgia card. It is a card about childhood. It is a card about the past. And again, Dr. X, if they thought that they were going crazy at first and they went to the doctor, you know, to see what the problem was or why, you know, they would dream the way they would and that kind of thing, why they were always thinking apocalyptic thoughts, you know, things like that. That's a thing of the past. Doesn't happen anymore because they've been being taught to have focused strength. And then we have the Ten of Swords. This focused strength allows them to complete the scripts for The Simpsons. They are able to put it all together, understand the communication, and write the show, complete the episodes. And then we have the Four of Cups, which is not every writer is okay to accept what's going on with these predictions, with how things are done. Not every writer is up for that. So they have had writers that have chosen not to stay, not to be a part of things. This can also be they are not forced to use everything that they receive. Okay, there is still choice here. Then we have the Fool in this position again. All these apocalyptic things that they get, they're like movies. They're like the apocalyptic movies, the destruction movies, Volcano, and things like Dante's Peak and Independence Day. All these things are adventures. And these writers, in a way, when they are doing their scripts for The Simpsons, they are probably looking at what's going on in the cartoon as an adventure, because that is a much easier way to handle some of the things, some of the predictions that come through. And then we have the Magician. They're on a mission from God. It's what is manifesting. No trickery involved, nothing like that. This is literally, these writers are creating and manifesting what they're being given. They've been chosen, they've accepted. This is their mission. Is it from God? I don't know. But they've accepted, and they're manifesting exactly what they're being given. So that is it for episode 2 of the Simpsons predictions series. I do hope that you've enjoyed it, and remember that there is another show each week, actually 2. They're very entertaining. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned next week, same place, same time, same day, for episode 3 of the Simpsons prediction series. See you then.